Welcome to the Hot Slice podcast with Pizza Today. I'm executive editor Denise Greer, and I am flying solo today. So it's going to be a fun show, one-on-one with our guest. And our guest is right here on screen with me. And that is Peter Falzo from Vinnie's Pizza in Millburn, New Jersey. So how are you doing, Peter?
I am good. Thanks so much for reaching out. I'm happy to get on board with you guys. I've been following a lot of your stuff, and it's great what you're doing for the community.
Well, and I got to tell you, we've been drooling over your pizza for a while. like it's just a constant drool fest. So the first thing I want to talk about is that pizza, because you have such a unique product, and I think you're doing a little combination, right, of a couple of different things going on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I call it pan pizza, but it's kind of a bar pie. So
Yeah.
it's like, and I know that a lot of people, they gear towards that bar pie thing, but we kind of, we do a bar pie in a pan, and we make sure that we kind of go edge to edge with everything, which is either loved or hated by some. And we seem to go towards love side of it, at least in our area. Listen, everybody has their own palate, so I don't discriminate. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've managed to find a little niche, and we stick to it, and that's kind of just what we do. I don't really go out too far outside the wheelhouse. I kind of like to keep it old school and simple.
Old school and simple. I like that a lot. And I'm from the Midwest, so we're kind of used to tavern style here,
Sure.
which means we love the edge to edge. So
Oh,
you
cool.
won't get no complaints here. So I want to know a little bit about your story. Kind of how did you get into pizza?
So Vinny, who is now why it's Vinny, is my uncle. He was
Uh,
like a second father, and I was super close to him. I grew up in and around his pizzeria, and this is his style of pizza. This is what he's always done. He did it for 45 years. He became a figure in the community and based around his pizzeria, and is just one of those salt of the earth guys. He passed, unfortunately, right as I was opening a restaurant.
oh
So I
wow.
had the space that I'm in now, where Vinnie's is in Millburn, New Jersey, was originally a 45 seat Italian bistro.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 45 seats in a restaurant. Fast forward 10 years after I opened it, COVID hit. COVID kind of disrupted a large part of the hospitality world, I think, which everybody's kind of aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of had my back up against the wall as to what direction I needed to go in at this point as an entrepreneur. And I knew pizza. I didn't know which direction I was in, but I just had this gut feeling that, whatever my uncle did worked really well, and its simplicity in itself. And I kind of just started making steps to doing that. I also was going through some personal things at the time, company with a divorce during COVID. So I had some time to myself, and I kind of found peace in pizza, if that kind of makes all sense.
Yeah.
The solitude and the simplicity of pizza was grounding for me, and it kind of brought me back to my family roots and just kind of the basis of what's really important and what's not, and just kind of keeping it simple.
Oh my
So I closed my restaurant down, and I think it was October of 19, no, October of 20. And
God.
I put paper on the walls, and I gutted it, and I revamped myself into Vinnie's. My chef, who believed in what I was doing, stayed with me,
Oh
and
wow.
him and I did a lot of the work in here cosmetically. And I just literally, after I got the ovens in, I just spent about 2 months of of time in here kind of by myself, and I bring my kids here as taste testers, and I just made sure I got the recipe as close to my uncle as humanly possible. I mean, it's without, over the
Yeah.
years, a few companies went out of business and purveyors use changed, but I've got it pretty spot on. So anybody that knew Camaradas in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there's a lot of nostalgia for them in my pie. And I had to take time to season the pans. Pans come and they're not
Mm-hmm.
exactly geared and ready to go. So I spent a lot of nights here getting them ready, and a lot of time kind of seasoning them and messing around, and kind of finding ourselves in this little community. And then I went to do a soft opening with like a list of people I had from restaurant customers and friends and family to kind of grease the wheels. And the wheels fell right off because it just snowballed after that real quick. A couple of
Yeah.
reviews went up from some people that got in, and I didn't even know that there was this. I didn't know how large a pizza community was, and I didn't realize what COVID had done for it,
Hmm.
so to speak. I
Yeah.
think that it gave people like a little something to, I don't know, a little bit of a critic for themselves and to get out of the house and go try different things. But it also saved a lot of people. It saved a lot of these small businesses that thrive off of, the neighborhood places and the people and the community. And they were hurting real bad. And I don't think people realized how on tilt it was. So, I came out of the gates way faster than I was ready for, and it was hard to get staff. And, we
Yeah.
just kind of knock on wood have maintained our own and found our own little path within it. I had family come help me. My cousin was driving from the south of Jersey. He would drive up 2 hours a day, 2 hours each way a day to help me, in between taking
Wow.
care of his daughter. And, I called favors into family and to really get it
Uh,
going. And I think so like Vinnie was a really special person, right? Like he just
hmm.
had a way of touching people. He always took in the underdog. And I
Yeah.
think that it kind of brought a little bit of that back to my cousins and my family. Was like
Uh-huh.
his pizzeria was the nucleus of our family, where it wasn't if you didn't see somebody for 2 years and you happen to stop there, chances are you're going to run into a family member and you got a chance to
Yeah.
rekindle. And he was kind of the backbone and the nucleus of our family, which is kind of nice to kind of re-put us on the map for some of that stuff that we had been so accustomed to doing.
I love that. So how long did
Yeah.
it take for you? You said it was kind of a rough go as far as, getting going to the pizza side. How long before you really got your legs and you felt like you were able to breathe and start working forward on your business?
So gotta be honest with you, I guess it was February 2020 is when we reopened, and kind of just took off. And it's like, when you kind of double down and put the last few dollars you have into something and you
Hmm.
start kind of getting a little bit of headway, life as an entrepreneur, you either have to figure it out and pivot and just make it work. And you do, and you figure it out. So like now we're in 3 years into this. I have a phenomenal manager that I brought in. His name's John. If anybody comes in, he really has a huge passion for pizza and for the
Hmm.
industry, and he's become family to me. And he, I think, was the yin to my yang because I'm not exactly the most technological person in the world. I'm good with
Uh-huh.
certain stuff. The marketing and the social media is all me. When it comes to like the actual, like basics of certain technologies, I
Yeah.
am not your guy for that. I'm more of the I'm more of the brains behind the operation. So he's been helping me really progress and fine tune the business to operate a little bit more with a little bit more finesse, I think would be
Yeah.
the best way to say it. So listen, every day I learn something new. Every day I
Hmm.
pivot a little bit, but I don't stay. I stay within my parameters, right?
Hmm.
So I know what I do. I like to focus on what we do well. Occasionally I'll introduce a new pizza, but I'm not the guy for your ham and pineapple pizza. I'm not the guy
Yeah.
for the chicken parm, penne, vodka. I'm not. So
Yeah.
I think it's great if that's something that people love and do, and that's great, and everybody should do that. But we really try to keep it super simple. So I buy
Hmm.
as many local things as I can when the season's proper, which is hard to do in the off season here. But
Hmm.
salads I buy mostly organic greens because I'm kind of a health nut, and I think that
Yeah.
half of anything that you end up with is what you start with.
Hmm.
So we try to buy the best quality ingredients possible. We use grande cheese, which is very popular cheese, but it's also expensive, and a lot of people
Yeah.
don't like giving their margins up for the quality. But I just refuse to sacrifice for that. Once we got some steam and people saw what we were ordering, and purveyors were reaching out like crazy, like it's hard to say, oh wow, I could save on that, but I just refuse to. I
Yeah.
refuse to sacrifice quality for for monetary reasons. I just feel it comes in perpetuity over time.
Yeah. And keeping a menu, there is something about keeping a menu simple that really can help everything else in your business from operations to labor. So what have you experienced with, keeping that menu simplified?
So by keeping the menu simplified, kind of when I was sitting back and brainstorming what I was going to do, because listen, there's thousands upon thousands of pizzerias, right? And I think
Hmm.
that initially the old world mentality was I need to appease everybody. I have to make
Yeah.
everybody happy, and I have to make everything and everything. But the reality of it is if you have a diner menu as a pizzeria menu, there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of stuff on shelf. There's a lot of quality lost, and there's a lot of control lost. So the more stuff you have to make, the more staff you need, which creates a higher overhead and really affects the business model. So my business model is really kind of a very small footprint. I mean, you can kind of see behind me where I am is the only table that I have.
Yeah.
And I have 3 tables right now because outside season, I put them outside, and I have 1 table inside. That's it. So my formula is very, abbreviated from what the stereotypical pizzeria menu is. I have X amount of pizzas that are staple and build your own. And then aside from that, I also have about 4 sandwiches, Parmesans and chicken cutlet sandwiches. That's it. Then I do X amount of salads with the protein. That's it. A few Parmesan dinners and pastas, and that's it. So I keep it very, very simple, which allows me to do things on a daily basis and keep it fresh. So we make small batches of our meatballs. They're small batch. Our meatballs are significantly above average. Chef takes a lot of pride in them. We do small batches of meatballs. We do small batches of sauce. They're doing it every other day, every couple of days, where it's not they're doing huge vats of things. And we're busy enough that it's constantly going through it, so it stays fresh. And there's a lot to be said about that. I have people that call and ask for things, and I just, we politely say it's just not something we do. The other side of it is, the more that it's like I use the kid in a candy store type routine. If you take an adult or anybody for that matter, and you put them in a situation where the menu's yay big, it disrupts everything. Where it takes them a lot of time to figure it out, where if you bring it down to this and it's like, these are your options, that's it. Simplify. Now, so for me on a busy Friday night, where that's our busiest night of the week, now you don't have 85 different pizzas coming in when you're trying to do volume. It keeps it very simple. So it's like you can look up and say, I got to make 6 of these, I got to make 2 of those, I got to make 1 of these, whatever it might be. Just allows you to have a better handle of control. I have friends that are in this industry that are extremely successful, and they do it that old school way. They're also attached to the restaurant. I'm not. I just believe in doing certain things, doing them well, and leaving it at that. And it's like if you go certain places for certain things. That's just the way I kind of feel about it. In our area, if you have a craving for a burger, you're going to go to a specific place. If you have a craving for a specific type of pizza, you're going to go to a certain place. You're going to go deli sandwich, you're going to go to a certain place. So it's like, you got to keep control of that. And once you lose that old world simplicity mentality, you lose control of the product, you lose control of what you're doing. So, I just believe in keeping it like that whole simple, less is more. My mother used to drill that into me as a kid, and like her old school mentality, it's like less is more. You don't have to be over the top. If you kind of keep it simple, everything else falls into place. And it's very true. In life, you're not going to be able to appease everybody. I don't care what industry you're in. You just do your best to make it as many people as you can happy. And you lose a few along the way. They're just not your people. And that's kind of the nicest way that I think you can put it out there. Like, there's certain people, like, everybody's a critic all of a sudden, which to me is ironic. And like, I'm not the person that apologizes to them. I'm the person that's more or less like, if you don't have anything to say, why are you even getting involved in the conversation? Just stay in your lane and just don't say anything. Because most of the time, the people that want to come on to like these pizza forums, like the pizza forum that's like Jersey Pizza Joints, is a huge forum. There's like 65,000 people on it. Like, you get these keyboard cowboys, as I call it, that don't have a clue how hard it is to be in the day-to-day of the hospitality world. And you want to come out and excuse my language, shit on what somebody put themselves out there to do. Whether they're right or wrong, it's completely irrelevant to me. It's like, just don't say anything. Like, why would you want to disrupt what somebody's doing and striving to succeed at? Where I'm sure in your industry of some sort, it's like a heckler in a comedy show. Like, nobody needs a heckler. Like, eventually, like the heckler is going to get heckled. Like, if I'm a comedian and you're going to say something, the chances are I'm not going to like beat around the bush and apologize. I'm going to come right at you with it. It's just who I am. It's what I've kind of grown to be. And I think there needs to be a little bit more of that. Like, the customer is no longer always right in the hospitality world. They're just not.
Oh, I got you. So you said kind of some of your areas where you thrive is in in branding and marketing and social media. Kind of what's your focus there? Like, what do you thrive to do with your brand?
So I think And I keep going back to like kind of like the history of hospitality. And I had a restaurant, right? I had a 45-seat restaurant that did exceptionally well for a very long time. It was called Peter's, right? In
Yeah.
Millburn. And we were a little niche place. And my mom and my dad helped me. And it was like this stereotypical family restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that was when I opened it, I had no wife and no kids. And it didn't matter the hours that I was there. It didn't matter that I needed to be there. And as you progress in life, there has to be balance.
Yeah.
And I think the old world mentality of killing yourself in four walls until you die, there's so much in life that you miss. And I've had enough happen to me. I think I'm 41. So I've had enough happen to me between my teenage years and 20s and 30s of like losing people, financial things, and realizing where it's like, all right, this goes kind of quick and you have to enjoy it. So based off of that, I was like, how do I open something in hospitality that I don't become the centerpiece of having to be there where it's like, well, if Peter's not there, I'm not going. Right. So that's a lot of the reason, a portion of the reason why I named it Vinnies. I do a lot with my logoing. Okay. And one of my logos is here. This is also some of my branding, which you'll see in it is kind of here. I just pulled it out of kind of So it's like from a marketing standpoint, it's like, how do I create a brand in hospitality that is the brand? And I'm not the focal point. So that was always something that was very important to me was Vinnie's is a brand. It's not a person. It's not a place. It's your thing. It's a brand. Because once you have a brand, you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you decide that you want to go into frozen pizza, you want to open up another location, you want to do anything you want to do, it's kind of like and I am not a huge fan of fast food, but the reality of it is you can go anywhere in the world and see a McDonald's logo and you know what it is. And you don't care if Joe Brown or Nancy Smith are the one that's ringing you up.
Yeah.
You're going there.
Exactly.
And that's just the reality of it is. So unfortunately in the pizza world, like, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And it's like, all right, so ancestry wise, obviously a lot of Italians came over and they had to find their way, right? They found their way in food. They found their way in construction. They found their way in whatever skill sets they had in order to do that. Pizzerias were one of those. They were one of those things. But that old world break your back stone mentality just, I think, really enabled people to enjoy the fruits of their labor. It enjoyed and inhibited them from growing into probably potential things that they could do where it's like, and I'm guilty for it too. I still do. I have restaurants that I go to that I know everybody that's there and I go there. Yeah. Why? Because you get better treatment.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's human nature to want to be treated properly. But I think it's also part of developing something and allowing it to grow. It's like you hire people that understand the importance of what your beliefs are. So I believe everybody's got to be treated a certain way and you have to operate off of those belief systems. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. You know very quickly about how somebody engages somebody if they see how that customer and your customer base wants to be treated. I'm in a very, I don't really care. I'm in a very difficult area.
Yeah.
So I'm in Millburn, New Jersey, Short Hills, New Jersey, which is, top 5 wealthiest towns in the country, not in the country. So you're dealing with a very New York mentality. You have a very, very high level of expectation, which is great because if it's like an ongoing joke where it's like, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It's like the Broadway of New Jersey, so to speak. Because if you could tolerate some of the standards that are set, I think it's the most diplomatic and nice way they could set it. That means when you go outside this little box, everybody else is easier. Everyone else is easier. Yeah. I've been very fortunate that I have a great relationship with everybody in the community. I've been here now, 13 or 14 years. So I've seen kids that were my children's age now go through high school, go through college, and now they're out in the business world. I've seen them now getting married. Like there's a lot to being part of a neighborhood. Like you have to become a part of the community to a certain degree. And this community has transitioned a lot since I've been here and I've seen it. It's like, all right, you have to pivot and you have to grow with it. So one thing that's great about pizza and the community, pizza's timeless.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter. Pizza is a timeless food. The styles in which people love and grow accustomed to, it may change. What I'm doing might change a little bit right now. Maybe people will get sick of a thin bar pie. Maybe they won't. But right, wrong, or different, right now, this is what I love. It's what we're going to do. It's what we've come accustomed to. But, it's something that can't change. Pizza is something that's just simple. it's effortless, and it's like, if you do it well, it's something that could thrive for a very, very, very long time. Goals of openness where, all right, I know what I need to do to make this work. I think I have the formula down pat, right?
Yeah.
My uncle did something for a very, very long time and succeeded at it. He thrived at it. And it's like, all right, those are big shoes to fill. Am I going to fill all of them? Probably not. I'm a different person, and I don't want to live the same life he did. And I don't. It's just something I don't want to do. I'm here quite often. People know that I'm here, but I also have two children that are growing super quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I refuse to sacrifice time for return. I just refuse to do it. So people need to kind of, get a grasp with that and in and around their own business. Like, you have to make time for those things, because later in life, they're going to be older. I'm going to be second and third string to sports and friends and all that stuff. So it's like, when I do get them, they get my attention. I bring them here, not all the time when I'm working, but I will bring them as periods of time to pop them in, because I want them to understand what it takes. And they will come here and they will fill the soda case. They will make boxes. They will do all the things that my cousins and I did, when we were kids at Barstools Pizzeria. They will do it. And whether they realize it or not, they're learning something. Yeah. You know what I mean? They understand what goes into the fruits of the labor and where, the lifestyle comes from that they are fortunate enough to kind of have. And kind of understand the work ethics, whether it's, whatever it is, they're realizing. I've got memories from when I was literally doing the construction here. I made them come and I'm like, here's a hammer, break the floor. Like,
oh wow,
I don't care what you do. Like, just don't swing it near your brother. Like, and you're gonna help, and you're gonna see what goes on and where it's gonna. And they do. They remember. They remember coming here with paper on the walls. They remember, putting the time in and kind of being a part of the process. Which I think is which is great. It's important for them to see that.
To see that, I love that.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
With extraordinary pizza cheese comes extraordinary rewards. Only Baccio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese offers the Gold Club Rewards program with monthly cash back on every cheese purchase. Members also receive funds twice a year to use in their exclusive marketing store. It's their way of saying grazie to customers. Schedule a demonstration at bacciocheese.com/hotslice and discover how rewarding Baccio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese can be. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Baccio.
Looking to grow your pizzeria or restaurant? Then you'll want to try the power of a cloud-based POS system. With Hunger Rush, you'll get everything you need. This fully integrated restaurant management system allows you to easily streamline operations, accelerate the delivery process, and grow your business through Hunger Rush 360 marketing. And it's so easy to use. Want AI-powered text ordering? It's built in. Need to track orders? No problem. Schedule a personalized demo at hungerrush.com today.
I think like the days of, there was a time when it was like a badge of honor amongst pizzeria operators. Be like, yeah, I worked 90 hours this week. I worked 80 hours this week. I worked, some ungodly amount of hours, and I think that when you have more operators that are operating like you, we're seeing that a lot more, trying to balance, life with owning a business. So what's kind of the key to you being able to get out of your store?
So I was just going to try to figure out how I could segue into a little bit of that. So I think that COVID, as much as it hurt hospitality, it retrained and helped hospitality.
Yes,
I'll explain to you why I feel like that. So there's a group out of California that I'm friends with a group of guys there. There's a pizza. Are you on Clubhouse at all?
I am not, but I know there's a couple pizza related Clubhouse things I hear a lot about.
There's a really great group on Clubhouse that Michael Fox, who's previous Food Network producer, amongst other things, hosts on Monday nights. And there's a group out of California called the Pineapple Experience, they're called. And I connected with them through a friend of mine in New Jersey who does branding, and he introduced me to them. and I pinged a lot of things off them. And one of the things that we discuss a lot about as entrepreneurs is like what positives came out of COVID with hospitality. And one of them is it retrained people of how they order, how they procure food, and how it's handled, right? So the reality of it is between DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and all the platforms for delivery here in our area, it really is kind of comes back to the branding. So now you're online and you see my logo, you know what it is. You know, it's Vinnie's. So the reality of it is I'd say 70% of my business is done through tablets. And I spent time on that and developing it and pinging ideas off people. And that's one of the ways that you're able to remove yourself from the constant day-to-day is because I'm all to go. And with that being said, you know, DoorDash drivers, Uber drivers, as much of a nuisance as they can be to the owners and operators, because if DoorDash is ever watching this, the first thing they should do is teach their drivers ethics classes, because they're just not with that, but that's besides the point. So really by using these tablets as delivery hubs and brands, it removes the person to person, right? So they don't really mind, you know, what drivers bring in the food as long as it has the Vinnie's logo on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So that was a lot of the driving force when I was recalibrating my life, so to speak, where I was like, I'm going to do this. And listen, when I first opened, yes, I was here alone. I made sure that it was going. I'm still here every single Friday, unless I'm either losing a limb or I'm incapable of doing it. I'm here on a Friday. So that's the busiest night of the week. Fridays and Saturdays and weekends are go time. It is what it is. But the reality of it is with these delivery platforms, they really have retrained people. I don't even have a paper menu. I don't have a paper menu. I have a QR code. I have a website. That's it. You know, all these old world businesses are still printing 500 menus a month and wasting X amount of hundreds of dollars a month. It's a total waste. You know, people got a custom new QR code. Use a QR code. It's that simple. Everybody has a phone. And if not, obviously I have tablets that are right behind me. I literally keep a menu on the tablet. If somebody's on the phone or in the tablet around, here's the menu. It's that simple. So ways like that is how I feel that people be retrained, and you have to feed off of those new habits that people have become accustomed to. Yes, the prices are higher on these tablets. Yes, some people like it. You know, but the reality of it is this, and it's so simply put, if you don't want to pay the prices on the tablets, you get up and you get it yourself. It's kind of that simple. It's like, you know what I mean? It's whether I have a driver or not, like all those costs still impede on. If I had my own driver, I still have to pay them. So that percentage that I'm putting into the cost of delivery pretty much rolls over into the other side of it. And it's a convenience factor. You want what you want when you want it. And if somebody's using a tablet, they already understand what they're doing. They're already there. So I think that is based upon the markets that you're in. But the reality of it is that people have been retrained to kind of use those tablets in that ordering in that fashion.
For sure. It's definitely made it a lot easier, right? So,
100%.
That's great.
100%.
So we can't not talk about the Barstool Pizza review. We have to hit on it a little bit. I know
absolutely.
That you were like, I watched the review. So anybody that doesn't know, Vinnie's Pan Pizza was on the Barstool's Pizza review. Dave went in and gave you a pretty high mark, right? Like,
we got a good score.
Insane good score. Because he's not known for giving out those good scores very often.
No, he's not. And it's funny because it's like, you know, he's going to come. I had a high rating on his app. And it was funny. The story is actually kind of funny because, you know, I can do everything in my restaurant, right? I can cook in the kitchen now. When I had a full-fledged restaurant, I was not capable of doing it. And I vowed that I'd never have anybody hold me hostage as a chef ever again. So that being said, I have a line as an owner manager that if you dive over, we just go our separate ways. So that being said, somebody decided that they were gonna test that line like a week before the Barstool review. So I was working a lot. I was working quite a bit, and which is fine, and I don't mind being here. So it really didn't make a difference to me. So I have, you know, John is my manager, who's literally identical to what I do. We duplicate the same pizza at this point, and I hadn't had it off in a while. I'm seeing somebody, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take Friday morning off. I'm gonna go spend some time with her. I'll be back for dinner.
Yeah.
Which I literally had been there every single day for weeks at that point. So he sends me a message, and I was nowhere in the area, and he's like, I just want you to know that Portnoy's here, and I'm like, seriously?
Oh, no.
So I'm like, I look at the cameras, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I was like, I wasn't even there. I was like, I really wanted to kind of talk to him because like I told you my story, which I think is decent, where it's like, and he's a gambler. So it's like when you tell somebody I just doubled down on this,
Yeah.
they kind of have a different level of respect for it. But again, I just want a fair taste test. So it almost was a double-edged sword. So I was not here. So there's a lot of, I can't believe how cocky this guy was. And I'm like, watching the review, and I'm like, this friggin' guy. I'm like, I wasn't even there. And the review came out, and I had no idea when it was coming out. So I was like sweating it because they don't say what you got. And reality of it is I told him, I said, you give him the pie, you make it the exact same way. You let him go outside, and you leave him alone.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Because anybody that annoys him, nuisances him, I don't know why they haven't figured that out yet, that if you just don't let him go do your thing and you start trying to jam food down his throat, just my advice to anybody that hasn't had him come yet, make your pizza, let it be your pizza, and just let the cookies fall. Because if you start going out there and you start annoying him, it's the last thing he wants.
He's going to make fun of you.
100%. And you deserve it at that point because you're just not helping. You're not showing the confidence that you should have in yourself for doing what you do. But yeah, so we did get a good score out of it, and we had no idea what it was for probably about 2 or 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I was still short-staffed. It was a Friday night.
Oh, no.
And it was me and John were working the ovens, and it's crazy busy here on a Friday night to begin with, where it has to be almost pre-ordered, where it's like we can only do X amount every time slot, and we schedule it, and we do it to the best of our capabilities. In the beginning, I feel I offended some people because I made them wait longer than they wanted to. It was a learning curve. I no longer do that. I accept what I could do, and I just leave it at that and I move on. But so the story goes it was all of a sudden every single thing in here was going berserk. The phones were ringing off the hook. The tablets were ringing off the hook. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here right now? Because I very seldom get flustered here. Like on an oven basis, at a point where I was like, what the fuck is going on here right now? So I literally was like, and my music, I'm big with music. So if you're here, like there's good music playing all the time. Some of the pizzas are named after the Beatles. My uncle's a big Beatles fan. So the manager, John, has a very different taste of music than I do. Whatever he was playing was literally like getting me to the point where I was like, you got to turn this shit off. So like I picked my phone up to see what was going on, to change it like through the system. And all of a sudden I saw that I had like literally hundreds of messages. And I was like, what is going on right now? So like I opened one. I was like, oh my God, the Barstool thing went up. So I literally just turned everything off and I closed at that point. I was like, don't take any more orders, especially after the night. And I didn't watch it. I still didn't watch it. I didn't watch it until the next day. So I was like by myself. And then I was like, or that night, I'm sorry, I watched it with my manager. We watched it and I was like, it was kind of comical because I looked at him and I was like, why were you so cocky? He's like, I don't know. They called me on the phone. And he goes, I didn't even say it to him in person. He goes, they called me on the phone. And everybody keeps asking me when you're going to come, when you're going to come. He's like, I think it's going to be really busy after he comes. He goes, I didn't know it was him on the phone. So either way, the manager did a fantastic job. He's really proud of himself. I'm proud that he was able to, kind of get us that score. And it kind of solidifies, me knowing that when you partner with people and you put the right people around you in any circumstance, you thrive. Yeah. So, it made me very comfortable to know, all right, even though I'm not there all the time, I was like, letting somebody watch your child for the first time, it's like it's going smoothly. So it was quite busy after that for a few months. It's real what they say happens. It goes sideways, which is great. It gives you a nice little burst of business, and it just gives you a different audience platform. I mean, there's some people out there that give him a lot of slack, and I think at first I was too. I was like, what the hell does a guy from Boston know about pizza? Like, what is like? I don't think he realized, and then with COVID, he saved a lot of places. Yeah. Like, I won't name names, but I know 2 or 3 pizzerias in my area that they feed multiple families. They're big operations, right? And their business was hurting really bad. And it's like, people don't see it from the outside. And like, I wasn't even involved in the day-to-day what they do. I just know from what I'm dealing with and what they must be dealing with, because what I do is very small and what they do is very large. But he doesn't realize by giving that review, you gave you gave another set of lungs to somebody that was drowning. Like it's, and like watching families that have done something for a very long time, all of a sudden really be hurting. It's a sad thing to watch. It's, you know, it's hard to reinvent yourself. So it allowed people to, you know, his reviews brought people from all over. You know, I had people calling me from Texas, Boston, out in your area. And, you know, who's flying in from this area to come here first? And it was like, and it's flattering, but it's also right. All right, the people that are thrashing him, they don't understand the reach that it has. And the reach that it has. And sometimes he gives people the other side of the stick, but the reality of it is there's two sides to every story. They edit those videos, so I'm sure he's eliminating some of the chaos that some of these people have created for them. So if you're able to use it, you know, listen, I don't blast that all the time. I think the next time I'll put that review up on my social media, and I never even blasted that in an email, and I have a huge email because it's like,
you don't need to. He's got millions, like millions of views. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, so
like, how many?
Don't like. So it's like, all right, like all of a sudden my box company's like, you want me to put the Barstool stuff on that in your shirts? And I'm like, absolutely not. And they're like, what do you mean? You're not going to capitalize on that? I'm like, listen, I'll capitalize on it, but the day that somebody else's brand sells my brand, I close. I'm done, because at that point I'm failing for what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm no longer doing what I feel that I'm good at, is the branding side of things, and the marketing, which is important. Which is, you know, we've created a little bit of an internet brand where it's like, you know, I'm looking at my next locations, and my next location probably, unless it's a great opportunity, it's not going to be on a main street. It's not going to be in the center of a downtown. You know, there's pizza people doing some really cool stuff out of these ghost kitchens and out of, you know, out of warehouses. And like, there's a stick to it. But the reality of it is with the internet now and platforms like yours and platforms like social media and email, and there's ways to market to people that the brick and mortars, you don't need to pay that rent. You don't need to pay that square footage to get that exposure where you used to have to do that. And that's another thing that I think, you know, a lot of these old school people think, I have to pay this, I have to be here, I need that traffic. You don't, because it takes me in the morning 5 minutes to post something on social media. And, you know, for what you spend in rent, and if you offset that with what you spend in marketing, and I don't spend nearly anything. I get literally every day, I get 5 or 6 DMs from every food influencer in the world that's like, you know, if you want me to repost you, you know, send me X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, no. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, if you want to come in and eat and we can make some content together, I'm all for it. But if you want to, like, you know, hold me hostage because you bought 50,000 followers or 100,000 followers that are probably from an area that I'm not even in, I'm good with that. The reality of it is if you hire a cool photographer, you create some cool content. You know, I do most of it myself with a friend for videos, and I haven't done one in a while. I just reminded me, I got to usually I'll come here on a night and when it's closed, and I do it by myself, and I'll just do it that way because I like the solitude of it. I like to kind of it's regrounding. You know what I mean? Like, it's come here by myself. I make pizza by myself. Maybe they come with me and they'll video some stuff for me. But for me to kind of be here by myself where it's quiet and just make the pizza kind of brings you back to that, all right, day one mentality, doing everything kind of the same. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do things the same. And then when you lose sight of that, because I feel myself occasionally becoming complacent with what goes on here, and those nights are kind of where we ground you. You know what I mean? It brings you back to be like, all right, I got to do this. I got to remember why I started doing this and why it brought me back to roots. And like, you know, I'm anticipating so I will be opening another place. I'm trying to figure that out now. It'll be in New Jersey. I'm looking at locations. I'm not rushing into anything because I just, you know, I'm happy with where we're at right now and I don't want to go backwards. But I like the energy of opening up a place.
It's fun.
There's like an adrenaline that comes with it. And it's like, all right, this is how I thrive on that energy. I like the chaos. I work well in chaos, organized chaos. And you get a lot of that with this industry.
Yeah. And if you have a
So
good
I like
team,
the
it's
opening
easy,
place.
right?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
have
easier.
two guys. It is much easier because, listen, if you have the army's set up properly. They put people in certain positions for a reason,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a certain role, and you play your role. Things run smoothly. Or a band. I like that analogy of a band better than the army because it's just too rigid for me. So take a band. Everybody has their instrument, right? When everybody plays their instrument properly, there's a symphony, there's a song that comes out of it, there's beauty that comes out of it, right? There's something positive that comes out of it if everybody knows their role. So one of the skill sets is knowing how to place people within that role. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you have the ability to find people that like playing that instrument and you see they're happy playing that instrument, you give them an instrument, you say, you just play that instrument, you do what you got to do, and everything else will fall into place. So right now I've managed to do that, and I've got a younger guy that's working with us now, and I'm big on bringing in people that want to grow. I will tell people flat out, if you don't want to be a part of the growth and you think you're going to leave when somebody else offers you $50 more a week, $100 more a week, save yourself the time and save me the time and aggravation, and I'll help you find another job somewhere else, but you're not for me. I want people that want to have growth. I have no problem paying fairly and having employees that want to be with me, but you have to want to be a part of the growth. And if you're not going to be a part of the growth and you're going to constantly create speed bumps, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping the team. You're not playing your instrument. You're dropping the instrument down the steps and disrupting everything that's going on.
Yeah, you are. I totally get that. Well, I'll close out on this one question is, what are you most looking forward to in the next, say, year or so?
So the next year or so, I guess we'd be entering into year 4 in next year or so. So I want to make sure that we constantly stay true to what we started with while maintaining growth. And in the next year or so, I really like to have another place open to expand the Vinnies brand and to bring it to another area in New Jersey, and expose some more palates to what we do and become another part of another community.
Well, that sounds amazing. Well, I thank you so much for coming onto the show, and I can't wait to meet you. Make sure when you see me flying around the show floor, just stop by and say hello at Pizza and Pasta Northeast.
Where are you? Are you flying into Atlantic City? Or are you coming?
Yeah, we'll fly into Philly and then drive over to ride on a transit over to Atlantic City, and then that's where we'll be.
It's a shame because the north, part of New Jersey. Stop after this. Like, we got a lot of slack for some of the mixed personalities, I think, in New Jersey. There's a lot of good people. It's a shame that, the ones that get in front of the camera tend to dilute the the character that we have here. But in North Jersey, it's funny. Where I am in New Jersey, I can name within a 5-mile radius some of the best pizza in New Jersey. So if you came to my area, so I'm in Millburn, right?
Hey, I'll put it on the list. It's awesome.
Joe's in Vauxhall, Calabria's is close. I mean, there's a slew of places that you could hit where it's like when you come to New Jersey, the pizza community is so tight, you could literally just hit so many places. So if you can get into Newark, or if anybody's listening, you fly into Newark, and I get a lot of messages. Where can we go? If you were within literally a 10-minute ride from Newark Airport into our area, you could hit some of the best pizza in the country. I appreciate you. If everybody's listening, I would love it if you could go follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Vinnies Pizza. So Instagram's at Vinnies Pizza. You can follow us there, and on TikTok, I greatly appreciate it. And watch our journey continue.
I love it. Well, we'll keep following you, and wish you the most success, man.
All right. Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you. All right. Have a fantastic week. I look forward to it.
All right. You as well.
Safe travels. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.